6 Igbo women share the things they dislike about Igbo culture. Igbo culture, like every other Nigerian culture, has parts that should be glorified and parts that can be done away with over the years. Following a Twitter conversation on how Igbo culture treats women, we spoke to 7 Igbo women and here's what they had to say. Oge, 23. I am the first daughter of my parents. Before my brothers were born, my mom was treated poorly by members of my dad's family because they saw her as childless, despite having a daughter. This made me feel like no matter what I accomplish, I would still not be seen as worthy in their eyes. My dad's best friend has 2 daughters who are adults and he still gets shunned by his own family because he refused to get another wife to give him a son. It was so bad that he wasn't allowed at his own mother's burial. I understand now why my parents tried to shield me from Igbo culture. Zeenab, 26. A part of Igbo culture I hate is being discriminated against for not being Igbo enough. I was raised as a Muslim in Abuja. As a child, no one really cared, but as I grew older and realized that I didn't have a lot of experiences Igbo kids had, I started to feel like an outcast. For example, we weren't raised with music in my home, so that Sunday morning gospel music seen before church most Igbo families have. I can't relate. The good thing is that I can speak my dialect and other dialects to an extent, but not with confidence other Igbo people speak because I feel people won't understand me. It doesn't help that I don't look Igbo at all, so nobody treats me like an Igbo girl. I tend to settle into whatever tribe people assume I am without disputing it until I am asked. I've realized that these little things shaped how I feel about being Igbo and has made me detached from my roots. Natalie, 31. I was an only child for 10 years because my mom had fertility issues. My grandma tormented my mom during this time, telling her she was childless and needed to have more kids. Eventually, my mom miraculously healed and she gave birth to my sister. My dad was happy, but grandma wasn't. The insults continued. My mom had 3 more kids and luckily, they were boys, but things changed. My parents started struggling to take care of all 6 of us. They had more school fees to pay and still had to make sure we had all the things we needed as a family. I love my siblings, but I would have been just fine with my sister. Thankfully, my siblings and I are grown up and can now support the family now, so it's a lot easier. NECA, 22. In 2019, I was dating this Igbo guy. We were so close that he invited me for a family get-together. When I got there, all the women were either in the kitchen or serving guests. They didn't even sit down to enjoy what they prepared. I wanted to help, but the women told me to sit and enjoy myself. Some of the men walked to where we were, saw me sitting and started talking about how I'm just sitting doing nothing. One of them asked the guy I came with if this is the woman he wanted to get married to, while others laughed. They mocked me so badly that day I felt terrible for a long time. Ojena, 26. My dad did his best to shield my sisters and me from toxic parts of Igbo culture, but you can't always fully be protected. When I was 10 years old, my uncles were having a conversation about elections and I chipped in saying I wanted a seat in the State House of Assembly when I get older. One of my uncles said, "Then you better marry from this local government." It wasn't until I got older that I understood what he meant. An Igbo woman is stateless until she is married, and even then, in many instances, she can't run for office as a wife of her husband's place or as a daughter in her hometown. The whole thing truly sucks. As in, 18. When my dad died, my uncles expected my stepbrother to take the properties my dad left behind from us, including the house we lived in. My uncles made him fly down to Nigeria to demand the documents because women don't own properties in Igbo culture. My brother didn't want to fight and eventually told my uncles to back off, but it's something I still think about, that my siblings and I could have been homeless because of one ancient practice that doesn't even make sense. Palm, 29. As a child, I hated that there were some masquerades I couldn't see but my brothers could and even chase them. It annoyed me to no end that women have to stay inside while the men go out and have fun. There's a spiritual reason for it that seems reasonable. They say women are the source of life and thus easy hosts for spirits, but it still didn't make sense to me.
This research